the creative choreographic side of me feels so much more like home than the front lines, courageous, performative side of me does, even though I think that they're both incredibly valuable. And I'm so glad that they're both a part of my life. This little kid inside that would just imagine all the things that I could be. Nothing ever felt impossible. It just felt like, oh, if I worked hard enough, I could do it. I really did feel as a kid like I could do anything because everything was just in my head. And I hadn't actually really tried to go out and do all that much. And so the possibilities were endless.
Welcome to the Grace and Form podcast, your backstage pass to the world of movement and the people and stories that shape it. Hi, Indiana, in our matching outfits one more day.
Hello, Saskia, Gregson Williams. Somehow every single day that we see each other, we're matching. It's pretty unbelievable.
We log into our podcast and we realize every day that we just were inspired by the same exact outfit.
We're in sync.
We're in sync. How are you this week? And let's get into our learnings and recommendations.
I'm good. My recommendation this week goes with kind of how I'm feeling, which is putting things in my body that make me feel really good and making sure that there's no or as little toxicities, plastics, metals, all those things that really are not so good for our insides going in. So that comes with like creams, lipsticks, chapsticks, deodorants, things like that. So my recommendation is Native, which is a really wonderful natural deodorant. And there's a lot of other ones out there too. But yeah, that's mine. What about your Sass?
My recommendation this week is a little bit different. And actually, I'm just going to package it because it's going to be my learning as well. I always go back to this idea of like moving with the seasons, but also with your cycle. So the season of the month that you're in, and I've been going to a workout class recently and the studio really prioritizes this, which has led me to really look back into it. So there are different stages of our cycle, right? There's the menstrual stage, follicular phase, when we're ovulating, all these different things if you have a menstrual cycle. And that is something that you can look into and see what movement really is best for that time. So in your menstrual phase, it will be something more gentle and restorative. Follicular phase, you'll have more energy, you'll feel lighter, more optimistic, so you can do the strength training. I'm going to leave a link here in our show notes where you can go and explore that because it's such an interesting way to align your body with where you're at in the month and get the best out of your workout. So that's my learning. It's my recommendation. Move with how you're feeling. And there's a formula if you're a woman to be able to do that.
Yeah, and it really is such a big deal.
It's really cool. And there's lots of information online so that you can self-service that yourself and kind of find the workouts that are going to be good. So we'll link something with information on that in the show notes. And what is your learning this week, Indy?
Okay, my learning comes a little bit from the podcast that we're about to listen to, and that is really taking little joys in every day. So finding something that just is so joyful to you and your heart and your, naive, beautiful, kid-like energy. We talked to Lovette, who's just become a mother and who is an incredible choreographer, dancer, and a real amazing person. So I can't wait for you guys to hear her.
Yeah, let's get into that episode. It is so brilliant. She is just such a multi-talented, faceted, beautiful individual with so many wise words when it comes to the journey of being a dancer, finding which part of that brings you joy and leaning in. How she went from being a dancer to a choreographer. And it's not a path that I actually understood and knew about. So it's super interesting to understand how she made that jump and what brought her to that. And then she gives us advice on what it's like to go into a new phase of life. And it's just so brilliant. Cool. We could have spoken to her for hours. She was just the best. And I'm so grateful she's in my life and she's a friend. And you guys are going to just love this episode. This podcast is an extension of our app, Grace and Form, where we bring ballet classes and ballet-inspired movement practices to you from beginner to pro. So everybody and everybody can experience our love of dance in their own home.
Absolutely. And we want to share everything that makes us feel amazing with you, and you don't even need a studio. And that's what's so wonderful about it. You can feel good anywhere.
So download the app, get a 7-day free trial, come move with me and Indy and some of our wonderful guests and incredible teachers.
We can't wait to see you.
I had the joy of finally being in the room again for this piece that I made a couple of years ago called Echo. And we put 3 new dancers in it. So I had the opportunity to kind of like revisit the piece, play with it a little bit, talk about intentions. And honestly, even if I didn't say anything, I was able to just sit and watch and be reminded of why I made it. And just, I love being in the studio. I love it even more than the stage.
Yeah.
Like, I feel like I'm most moved when I'm sitting in the front of a studio, just watching it that close. And I like the raw, like unfiltered approach to dancing. Like, I just think that that's so beautiful. You see the work a little bit more.
Yeah.
So anyways, yeah, I had so much fun trying not to like get too animated and excited because I haven't been in the studio in a while. So I'm like, Lauren, chill.
They're doing a tandu and you're like, yes!
I know. They're working all day, every day. It's not like the end of the world, but I was very moved, and the piece looks awesome. And it's going to London. I forget the theater. Let me see if I can find it quick. I can't go.
Oh.
Because I was going to go originally, but with Liberty, she's not on solid foods yet.
Oh.
I could leave maybe for a day or two, but she kind of needs me still.
Just a little bit.
Just a little bit.
And I mean, that's so good that you're able to still breastfeed her too.
I know, I'm really grateful. Because she's almost 6 months.
Yeah.
I can't believe that. I seen
Yeah.
that story you posted this morning, and I was like, a proper little face, and I was like looking at her. I like watched it a few times, being like, who do you look like? Is this Lauren? Like, is there Daniel in there? I was like, and I was just like, you're a proper little person. You're yourself now.
She's
her
a real
own thing.
mixture, yeah.
And she totally is a mix of the two of us. Sometimes I think she looks more like Daniel, but she's around me the most, so she makes my facial expressions.
Oh.
That's what I think. I think she emulates me more, but she technically in her genetic makeup looks more like Daniel with
Which
her
is
blue eyes.
so cute.
I know.
What a sweet combination.
Okay, I found the theater in London. It's Linbury Theater,
Yeah, I know it.
Royal Opera House at Covent Garden. Oh, I think there's just something special about your work getting performed again and again and again, and it not that it dies, but not going into a winterization process where it freezes over and has to like come back to life. I think there's something nice when it gets performed often, and it grows exponentially each time, and I just love it. Because then I'm surprised. I get to see something new.
So true.
So cool. We were just talking about your daughter Liberty, and I want to know your beginnings. You grew up in Thousand Oaks, California, is that right?
I did. Yeah, I did.
And Indy said that you didn't start ballet until you were a little later. Was it 11?
Yeah, I was 11. I got discovered. I don't know if you know the dance studio store. There's a studio and store right next to each other in a plaza, and it's called Pas de Deux Dance Outfitters. Do you know
I
it?
remember that, yes.
It's in Agoura Hills.
Yes.
I don't know if it's still there, but my aunt started that store. She was an entrepreneur and just loved dance because of her daughter dancing, my cousin, and just went for it. So she opened up a store, and I was homeschooled and would spend the afternoons there just kind of picking through go-backs, shoes and leotards and things like that, memorizing the codes and putting them back on shelves. That was my job. And yeah, I one slow afternoon when I didn't think anybody was watching, I took my shoes off and was dancing at the little ballet bar. It's so beautiful because my uncle, he actually just recently passed away, which is just really sudden and tragic. But he was a carpenter, and he made the dance floor and ballet bar that I got discovered at. And I'll never forget it. It was just like this handmade, hand-carved, it said Pas de Deux Dance Outfitters on the floor, and a real wooden bar, like the thick, like gorgeous oak wood. And that's where I was. I didn't have my shoes on. I had my foot up on the bar, and I was pretending to be a dancer there in Luke's ballet space. And the local dance studio owner saw me and said, you know, have you ever danced before? You have the feet for a ballerina. And she gave me free classes because I told her I couldn't afford classes. So
That's so incredible.
Yeah. It was really, a special way to start, I think, especially for my personality, because I think I would have given up after the first week.
Yeah.
I know. Like I was a little bit behind. Starting in the intermediate advanced class, I was just 11, and everyone knew like plie, tendu, dégagé. They already knew what to do in the class, and I just felt like a fish out of water. I definitely would have quit. But you don't quit when you're discovered, because you feel like you must have some sort of talent, unspoken thing. And so I thought, I can't give up. This is the first time I ever was discovered for something, an ability. So I should probably see it through.
So
Wow.
cool.
Yeah,
That's
so
really
I just
cool.
kept going. I fell in love with it a little bit later. Not right away.
When do you think that was? Was that during, because I know that you auditioned for SAB, and was that when you were discovered to auditioning to SAB? It was quite a short period of time to have to grow a lot as a dancer to audition for a school that a lot of people want to be in.
I think I fell in love with it a few months in, and it wasn't because I didn't like the performance element. As soon as the Nutcracker came around, I realized that I did not like performing on stage. It was very stressful. I didn't like the competition element, but I fell in love with the emotions that you could get out of ballet. So I remember, like, I actually liked auditioning, because it was still a studio, it wasn't the stage, and there was this feeling of anything can happen, and you could go for a role. So I put myself in the soldier audition, because for me, I thought that's who I am.
Very
I felt
Lauren.
I could identify with that. I was like, I didn't really know what the Nutcracker was, so I didn't know if that was a good role or a bad role or what. I don't know. I couldn't differentiate between anything. I just thought, oh, soldier, yes. Like, do I get to like stand and salute and be a part of this militant force? Do I get to feel power and confidence and strength? So I was one of one. There were two of us in the studio. So one of two dancers to show up to the soldier audition. But yeah, I fell in love with the way it could make you feel. Like dancing, especially when I had a role or something dramatic happening, I could tap into the emotion of it.
I also feel like you're a dancer that, knowing you, always likes to grow and learn. And I think that what's so cool about how you grew up, and sassy for you to know too, as a dancer, Lauren was and is always so curious, and like everything is like the first time. And so it makes it so that, I don't know, it's a very different experience as a person who's watching too, because you just see like this pure love and joy of discovery of things. And I guess especially in the studio, because that was where, you know, you could really just go for whatever you wanted without like any inhibitions. Inhibition.
Yeah,
And
that's true.
you know, I feel like that just makes so much sense with your discovery too. I knew about it, but like now thinking about it and knowing you, it makes so much sense that that was your journey, because you still bring so much light and like continuation of being present and curiosity of learning. And I feel like that's really helpful to not have like negativity and like boredom in the studio, like always being electrified by movement and dance. It's such a great gift, really.
I'm going to try not to bristle at the kind words that are coming my way, and also try not to cry at the same time because it's so nice to hear. But I really love the curiosity of dance. Like that is where I'm best, I think. I never had much of an interest in revisiting a role over and over and over again. A few times, yes, because you can get deeper into it. But once I felt like I had like a very profound experience in a piece, if I felt like I emotionally got to a certain place in the work, then I kind of wanted it to live there in that fresh alive, almost spontaneous place. And once I had felt it, I felt like I was good, and I could let someone else experience it for themselves in that brand new way. But that's because I'm a little bit of an explorer. I like new, I like challenge and change and newness of life, because we only have one, as far as I know. And I really I like that element of dance, which is, I guess, why I'm so drawn to choreography.
Yeah, it's that self-exploration and choreographing things that come from you. I know you were homeschooled, which I was for a short amount of time as well. And like, does that,
Wait, how did I not know that?
in the homeschool club, but like, I know, and and there's a few things that come, well, at least for me and for my good friend Jess, who I always speak to about this because she was also homeschooled, and we speak about first of all, there's this element of like, you kind of have to create in order to have a recess or like time to play, because
Definitely.
there's nobody else really there. And the other thing, which is like, it's interesting, the stories that you kind of create around what your life might look like and things might look like, because you have no idea. And I'm so interested to know like how that was for you as a kid, and how that's kind of like pushed your ideation and creation.
Well, that's so true, Sassy, because you spend a lot of time in an introspective place. Like, the image of a little kid staring out a window of a moving car, imagining what life could be, is so how that was like my whole childhood.
Yeah.
And I can really identify with that place, which is why I think the creative choreographic side of me feels so much more like home than the front lines, courageous, performative side of me does, even though I think that they're both incredibly valuable, and I'm so glad that they're both a part of my life. It's just one feels so much more like home. It's like I can really see myself in it, and it's just this this little kid inside that would just imagine all the things that I could be.
Yeah.
Nothing ever felt impossible. It just felt like, oh, if I worked hard enough, I could do it. And maybe it is absolutely not true that I could do anything. So there's a fallacy in that. But I really did feel as a kid like I could do anything.
Yeah.
Because everything was just in my head. And I hadn't actually really tried to go out and do all that much. And so the possibilities were endless, and there was no failure yet. So it's good and it's bad. I think a lot of my struggle with dance comes from the feelings that I had to get or overcome and get past, just from a development perspective, from just a little kid learning how to be around other kids and feel at home and at peace in that space, instead of it being such a stressful out-of-body experience every time.
I really relate to that. I feel like I found it so weird going into like bigger spaces with also kids that had more regular social like upbringings. Even now, I sometimes step into a room and I'm just like, I have to quiet down that little voice. It's like, you've got to prove yourself. You've got to like show why you're worthy to be here. And as a kid, I used to like always try to, as soon as I got a couple of friends, I would, really want to show them how cool I was and like what I could achieve. And I was the one doing like the WWF fundraisers and all the things that I could think of, because I just wanted to put myself in a position where other people would look at me and be like, oh, she's cool. Right. And it's really hard to then kind of, integrate. And also deal with the, sometimes when you have that sky's the limit mentality, which I definitely had. The naivety as a kid was brilliant for that. But when you do have those moments of failure or things don't quite go your way, it's pretty, gut punching. The first time you auditioned to SAB, you didn't get in.
No,
Is that
I
right?
didn't get in.
Yeah.
Nope. I started dancing when I was 11, and then 1 year later, when I was 12, we moved from California to North Carolina. So I had just started my dance journey, and journey makes it sound like such a whatever.
Yeah, I know what you mean.
I just started dancing, and I didn't feel any kind of confidence in it for sure. And because it was bestowed upon me in a sense, I felt if I wasn't around that teacher, that studio, the place that saw something in me, then I don't know, it just left me feeling incredibly insecure at the same time as feeling very uprooted from everything that I loved and felt safe in, just from an ordinary everyday life perspective. So we lived with my grandmother for 4 to 6 months. I want to say 6 months before we actually got into a house in North Carolina. And it was 4 of us kids staying in one room of her townhouse in North Carolina. And it just felt very bleak. I remember being like in this state of feeling like I was just very out of body and little tiny fish out of water. I think when you're 12 anyway, you're going through puberty and you have already so much changing in your body that to have that happening at the same time as my whole environment felt just chaotic and scary. So I found, well, my parents found it for me because they wanted me to have something that could ground me in that time. They found a dance school that would scholarship me. They didn't give scholarships at any of the local schools in North Carolina, but there was one larger school that I was able to write a letter to and get all my classes paid for. I think I wrote like, I'll be your like most hardworking, greatest student you've ever had, or something along those lines. But they gave it to me, and I only spent a couple of years at that studio. But when I was there, because it was on the East Coast, and so I think the proximity to New York and North Carolina was closer, but also it was a little bit less of a competition school and more of a ballet-centered school. So instead of conventions and competitions, it was more about what summer program are you going to go to, and ballet companies. So I didn't know any of that, but there was a dancer that I greatly admired who was perfection in my eyes in every way. I definitely wanted to emulate everything that she did, and she went to New York. She went to SAB. So that's how I found myself in the audition shortly after I moved. And I think there were a number of reasons I probably didn't get in, but I think one of them was they just felt like I needed to get stronger. That was the fight of my entire dance career, and possibly the future if I'm still dancing, I don't know. But it's always been about strength for me with my body. I have one of those looser bodies that
Can create amazing shapes.
it makes some really creative shapes. But it's always been an insecure point for me. So I felt maybe that was the start of that insecurity, was not getting into the school and it being about strength. And so I just kind of reiterated the words, "You're weak. You need to get stronger. You're weak. You're not strong enough," over and over again in my head. And for better or worse, I mean, it made me work very hard, feeling behind, starting late, and then being convinced that I was weak always. Definitely instilled a work ethic that propelled me forward, but I can't say that all of it was all that positive, because some of that seeps into the performance element and can hijack a situation when otherwise you would feel confident going in because you've always done well in rehearsal or whatever.
Yeah, it's so tough. I mean, it's very tough to have that as a kid. A rejection letter is, you know, it's a pivotal moment, I feel like, in a kid's life of whether or not they're going to push and work really hard and be determined, or maybe they realize, oh, maybe this is not for me, and they go to a different direction, you know. But yours obviously really worked out because you worked really hard, even if it wasn't easy. And then you became an apprentice in 2009.
Yep.
And then, well, made your way, and then principal in 2015. And I obviously was with you for most of your career and was so grateful to be there and be your friend. But were there any turning points or like moments in that whole time that, I don't know, were very important to you or standout moments for you? I'm sure many, but if you could think of maybe a few or one or...
Yeah, I feel the artist life and how you're growing personally are so connected. Like, just completely connected.
So connected.
So I feel like for me, it was mostly when I discovered, just certain books that, I mean, I'm like such an advocate of the self-help books, but it helped me when I was able to discover Presence, like Amy Cuddy's book Presence was a huge turning point for me because that was helping me get over the self-consciousness that was crippling me without, sometimes I wasn't even aware of it, but the book helped me become aware of it.
Yeah.
I have a very loud head. I have like pretty intense ADHD. And I mean, I didn't know what any of that was, but I just knew that when I would meet someone, I had a trillion thoughts going in my head about everything, anything from their hair looks beautiful to I wonder what they're thinking about my braces to, whatever. And then I was unable to meet people in real moments, like in the moment that is all we really have any control over anyway.
Totally.
And so because that was such a struggle for me, that was a huge turning point in my career because I felt like I could show up on stage more honestly. It wasn't always perfect, and I got kind of known for having bad moments on stage because I never knew what was going to happen. But it was also beautiful because I was so in the moment that I remember the performances very well. How I was feeling, the look in my partner's eyes, what I wanted to say. All of that was very real. Amy Cuddy was a big part of that. I wouldn't be choreographing if I wasn't reading a book that was talking about facing fear every day, like just doing one scary thing a day, because I was trying to, I don't think it was win friends and influence people, but it was a book along those lines where it was about, trying to learn how to show up in a way that could attract others, because I felt so lonely all of the time growing up in school and so other. So I wanted to feel the same as everybody else. So in one of those books, it was saying, do something scary every day. I signed up for choreography. I wouldn't have done that. So that was a huge turning point in my career, but brought to me because of something I was working on in my personal life. And I'd say probably Stephen Pressfield's The War of Art was another one. I think I'm saying that title correctly.
I was very lucky to be with you during these moments because I got to learn so much from you, and they really help a lot. I'm reading one that Lauren gave me that I actually told you about, Sassy. It's called Stop Letting Everything Affect You, just the audiobook, which has been really nice to listen to in the morning. And I don't know, it's just like they're really nice reminders of just working a little bit on yourself and kind of getting a better understanding or helping you find ways to feel more safe and secure in your day-to-day life and in your own mind. I'm wondering, with your ADHD that you mentioned, like, was there anything, I mean, other than, of course, these books really helped, was there anything that kind of helped you navigate that? Because that's a really tricky thing to navigate, especially when you're, in a company dancing. At least there was a schedule, which is great, but that's something that's really challenging to live with.
It is. I think a few things helped me. I think one of them is I keep a very, very clean space now in my physical world. Like my desk is not a good representation right now, but in my home and office or locker or wherever my space is, I found that for me, if my space was cleaned, my mind functioned a lot better. It would just be a lot more clear. Mel Robbins helped me so much with this because she's very vulnerable about how she talks about her journey with ADHD and discovering later even that she had it. And so things like her 5-second rule was a huge help because I tend to think I can do an unreasonable amount of things in a very small amount of time, and I wait for inspiration to strike before I move often. And so I have this tendency to just wing it a lot, and it can create some beautiful things, but it can also leave a lot of unfinished things in its wake. And so Mel Robbins helped me a lot. The 5-second rule is literally whatever comes to mind, whatever you're faced with, whatever is in front of you. It could be the laundry, but in the moment that you're thinking about the email you have to respond to, or the video you need to watch to go over a role, or whatever it is, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, do it. So procrastination has been something that I've really struggled with in my career. I let things pile up and then just do like a day of tackling it all, like a superhuman day, just conquering it all.
I definitely know those days. You too, Sass.
Yeah, I was wondering, Lauren, with that, because I'm sure that some people listening as well don't have the experience of being ADHD, but will be, maybe managing a room full of dancers, students, or, in a choreographic setting, maybe dancers in a company. Do you spot certain character traits or things that you have maybe more empathy or understanding how to work with somebody that has ADHD? I'd be so interested to know.
I think I actually struggle with working with those that don't have it. I think the ones that do, we really get along quite well. I think they understand when I don't always make sense because I'm jumping around in my corrections. For instance, when I'm giving notes on a ballet, I'll pop all over the place. Like I'm in the first movement, then I'm in the last movement, just like wherever my brain goes. And I find that the dancers that are also leaning in that way, it's always a spectrum. We're all on a spectrum for everything. No two people are the same, but I think where I struggle with the most is with dancers that really have orderly internal mental makeup. Like when they're very organized and very ordered, I think sometimes we clash a little bit. And the practice of my life, or what I've been trying to get to, because I do very much care. I care that everybody in this space is feeling good, and at least seen or understood. Because I care about that so much, it's been an exercise and a practice for me to get more organized, to come in more prepared as best as I can, and then also have the humility to repent is way too strong of a word, to make it right, to like set it straight when I don't meet those marks, and be the kind of leader that can say, I messed up, or I completely reversed it in my head. I'm so sorry. Let's go back. Yeah. So that's been a journey, and one that has tested my humility for sure. Always grateful for that.
Yeah.
It's tested my humility, but it's also made the work that I do just so much more enjoyable. I feel very honest in my work. because
I love being with you in the studio.
Oh, I love being with you too.
It's so fun. We just have the best time.
We have the best time. Like, I remember the first piece I ever choreographed for New York City Ballet, you were in it.
Yes.
And it was so easy. I think we made all of your choreography in less than an hour.
Yeah, it was pretty cool. We were like,
so
whoa.
fast. We were like, wow, okay, I guess we
that
can
was
do this.
cool.
But it is true that sometimes you just hit it off with a choreographer for whatever reason, and that's why it's so important that that we have a space where everybody can join in and be a part of it on the creative side, and well, dancers are creatives too, but you know what I mean, in the front of the room and in the group, because I think it's not uncommon for dancers to feel seen in a work or feel seen by a creator, and it's different for everyone.
Totally. Talking about your journey, you were on crutches recovering from an ankle surgery when you were promoted to principal.
Oh, yeah.
Which is wild because, injury is a really challenging thing mentally. And of course, it's a really beautiful time of growth. It can be, or it cannot be, depending as well of where you go. But I'm wondering, what that moment meant to you emotionally and how it helped you continue growing as an artist as well as a person, because that's like a really big step in a dancer's life to become a principal. And I remember you were on crutches and you were like, whoa, okay.
Man, it was just such a hard year that year. And I think it's just, there's so many different emotions that I remember about that year, and positives and negatives that came out of being promoted that young. I was 23. And I think for the most part, I take it as a win because it kept me going. And I say that because I had some things going on in my personal life at the time with the people I cared about the most in the world. My deepest relationships were falling apart, and I felt, I probably felt the most lost that I've ever been as a human being on the planet, because the liminal beliefs that I had, since birth were breaking before my eyes, like they were cracking open. So a lot of the, how do you say it? Like a lot of the fundamental aspects of who I was questioning in that time. And the romantic partner I was with blew up that same year. There was just a whole lot of uncertainty and opportunity at the same time that I wasn't ready for. Like the opportunity to audition for a Broadway lead, and then to also, I never did it, but I went through the whole audition process and had the opportunity presented to me I could have accepted. And there were just so many things coming at me at that time, including having a dog, a little puppy. And I just think that if I hadn't been promoted to principal in that time, I would have kind of fallen off I was I was tired and ready to give up a little bit in that time. And I think maybe my boss knew. I don't know. But maybe there was a knowing there, or a sense that because I also had surgery on my foot, the crutches. I forgot to even mention the crutches.
Just to add another layer
That's
onto
a side
your
I was thinking more about my emotional pain in that year than I was about my physical pain. But I was also had an osteogonum bone in my ankle that was incredibly inflamed to the point where I couldn't even walk. And I had just debuted Sulfide, and that was incredible, but also I was just in so much pain, and I couldn't jump, and I never jumped in class, and I felt like if something didn't change soon, I just wouldn't have a very long career at all. So anyways, I decided to get the surgery to get the bone removed from my foot And at the same time, I was sort of giving up.
Yeah.
And I thought, I had my time. I'm so dramatic because I was like, I had my time. I'm just going to kind of go into my dark hole and distance myself from everything and heal. And it was in that space where I was on the couch with the crutches and the boot and all. It was in like that dark moping place that I was called into the office and brought to the stage and just told I was a principal dancer. And this is 2 weeks after the surgery, so it could have been said earlier, but instead it was said. I don't know why the timing was as it was, but yeah.
Life just made you realize that you could also make it, I guess, on your own. You were healing on your own too in this like difficult time, and that was just like your icing on the cake from what I remember too.
And I'm not religious anymore in a sect or like a specific religion, but I live such a spiritual life, and I really did feel that and do feel that every time I'm at what feels like my lowest spot, something happens that's so much greater than me or what I could imagine for myself or whatever. And it seems to almost lift me up like if there was something higher and greater out there in the world that just like picked me up. It's like, Nope, you're not going to go all the way down. You're going to try again.
Totally.
And get yourself back out there.
Yeah.
So I was humbled by that. Also terrified because I had this healing process in front of me. And I was very scared to come back into the company after being injured anyway, back to the stage, which is not my most confident space. And also feel like I had to prove to my colleagues and to the audience that I deserved what was bestowed upon me. It was like I wasn't even in my most confident state of mind as a dancer. So that was incredibly difficult. It was nice in a sense because someone believed in me that I would get through the injury and come back better. But if I didn't really feel the confidence that my boss had in me, like viscerally in my body, I would not have gotten through that for sure.
It's a lot of pressure.
It was a ton of pressure.
And I know for you, performing wasn't really like your favorite time. And I feel like that's something I wonder if our listeners would be surprised by, but that you never really enjoyed performing that much. But, you love being in the studio. It's just that the performance aspect. So going to the performance aspect, when did you realize that this was something that was like a little scarier for you? I think you mentioned when you were younger, but was there something more when you came into New York City Ballet? Because then you have to perform almost every night.
It was since the first day. I'll never forget it because I was like in the Nutcracker, they made me the party girl. I wanted to be the soldier, so I was already not identifying with my character.
Bad start.
Wanted to. But I was like, okay, this is a coveted role. There were like 50 plus dancers that showed up for the party girl audition. So like I needed to take that and run with it. I was being bestowed this gift. Literally, because I remember running out with a present over top my head. But I knew it from the second it started. Like my costume was too tight. I had to wear those curlers in my head, like the ones that, and they came out too small because I didn't know how to curl my hair. So like I had really, I don't have curly hair. So, but naturally it's like wavy at best. So I didn't know that you can't brush curls. So I had already too tight of curls, and then I brushed them. And like the blush and I remember it so well and thinking, I hate everything about this. Like I was having a great time before the costume, the makeup, the lights, the moment that everybody's all like giddy about, the audience, the blackness on the other side. I was fine if you could see who was in the room, but as soon as you couldn't see them, I was like, who am I dancing for? where are they? I'm just
Totally.
doing this to the void. So I really just, from the start, didn't feel comfortable with the stage. And then after my apprenticeship, I really thought I would quit shortly after that year. I didn't think I was really going to get hired into the corps. I was hired with 9 other girls because they needed more snowflakes and flowers in the Nutcracker. So I didn't think it was a done deal that I was going to make it into the corps de ballet. And I was kind of, at that time, okay with that. I was like, okay, I did the dance. I think I'm good. I like to go to bed early. And every night in the show, it's like 7:30, 8 o'clock at night.
I know your faves were matinees.
I love the matinee. Give me the matinee. I felt so alive, so fresh. But yeah, just to stay awake and stay hyped up and warm, and it was just such a fight for me, the environment of the theater and the stress and the lack of windows in the theater.
But yeah,
And
that's a big one.
Oh, the competitive nature of it. Like I would always feel a mixture of excitement and dread every time I would get an excited role or something that was like a new feat.
Yeah.
I would think, oh no, like people are going to hate that I got chosen for this. I'm too young. I'm too inexperienced. I haven't been here long enough, or whatever reason. I can't do the fouettes, so people are gonna laugh at me. But I had all these things going on in my
How
head.
did
all
you
the
deal
time.
with that voice for someone that reads all the books and that's trying to sync up all the information? Because I had 2 thoughts that when you said earlier about like being in so much kind of emotional pain as well as the physical pain in that break. I was thinking that like as a dancer, you often and a choreographer, you kind of go through your emotions through dance. I was so interested in that, thinking when you're not able to move, how do you deal with those low moments? And then also when you're in the setting as well and you've got so much going on, how have you found that you can ground yourself?
That's so good. I'm not well when I don't move. I'm not. I was
She's a
born
mover.
to move. I'm not my best self. I've learned that a couple of times through injuries and with being pregnant and after, and I can talk more about that. But there's this realization, especially that I'm coming to now, 6 months postpartum, that I am a mover, and I absolutely am my most mentally fresh and alive when I'm moving.
Yeah.
Very important for me personally. And then throughout my career, just to get through, I think I found very simple, ordinary moments to be the key. Little things like I'm going to shout out Indiana right now. There were times when just the simple act of knowing that Indiana was going to be watching in the first wing or second wing behind the boom would immediately make me feel better, because I knew that I could be myself and I was dancing for her. Even though I was dancing to the audience, I was also like, it's for her right there. She's right there. So with some big moments, that helped a lot. Sometimes it was simple. Like I would just love to connect with the face of my dance partner. Like really look at them in the eye, and that was enough, like, to ground me in the present. Music, for me, has always been the whole point. It's why I love dance, and I'm so passionate about music. I feel like that would always re-ground me, because I'd just listen. I didn't have to think about the pirouette that came up next or whatever. I could just really listen to the music. I would listen to DGV, MGV by Michael Nyman, but we have a ballet called DGV.
For dance,
to that music. But it's a piece that's about half an hour long, and it's very repetitive and hype and movement oriented, like it really has a driving pulse. And so that became my ritual. I would listen to that music because of how it gave me this confidence or this zen, quiet space in my head, because the music was repetitive enough and forward moving enough that I could zen out in my
And
head.
so passionate too. It felt
But
like
the
so
passion
full.
was there. Yeah,
Yeah.
so I could connect to the reason why I was doing whatever role I was doing. And I would always come up with a reason. I never went on stage without a reason. I didn't care if it was a leotard ballet or an abstract piece. I never let a dance go by on stage that I didn't connect to in some way. I always found a favorite moment. So I always had something to look forward to in it. And I would find a meaning. Like I would, even if I had to act to get there, to be the kind of person that could pull it off, I would like fake it till I make it, I guess. I would come up with a story, which made it all so much more fun.
I love that. I love that you picked a favorite moment. I'm going to take that into my winter season because it's really kind of I love, as well as you, we love most of the moments, but it's nice to pick something where you're like, oh, this part of the music is so beautiful, and I'm just going to look forward to getting to dance all these beautiful steps. And then once you get there, you're like, wow, I'm here in this moment of pure joy. I do think that with both of our experiences, I feel like supporting one another has definitely been such a key thing in both of our careers, and definitely not always easy, obviously, to find, people that will support you all the time and like come to the wings and things like that. But that was definitely something like that you mentioned. I remember specifically there was one really special show that I wasn't in, but I came to watch Lauren, you in, and it was it's one of my favorite ballets, Stravinsky Violin Concerto.
I love that one.
And it was just like, and you did the same for me. And I feel like that's something that I'm just putting out there for people who are listening. It doesn't go unnoticed in Friends and growth of an artist to have those special people in the wings. So it's really important to like take the time and cultivate those relationships, and those are just as important as the dance, I think. I think it's so easy in a career, especially like you're saying, you got promoted so young. You may have felt others not wanting you to succeed, but to be able to like still connect and have the, friendship, I think is so important to be able to keep going, because it's intimidating. And the stage can be intimidating too. And those friendly faces in the wings are so helpful.
Well, I have to say though, I don't want anybody to get the wrong idea. You were the one who was so good at supporting others. Like, you were the one that inspired me in that way. It wasn't something that I was doing. I was so self-centered. I was thinking about my pain, my stress, if I could remember the choreography. Like, I was so in my own world all the time. I didn't, like, if I could, I think that's part of why doing a podcast is a good idea, because maybe someone out there will be listening to this and will say, oh, wow, Lauren wishes that she had done that differently. Maybe I'll do it differently. I don't know. But if I could tell the listeners that there was something I wish I did differently, it would be to think about myself a whole lot less in the career. I've given myself grace. I've forgiven myself. I'm not like beating myself up about it anymore. But I think I could have had a whole lot more support. I think people are genuinely good at heart. I do. I think they are ready to support one another, but there has to be a window or a door opened first by the person who needs the help or needs the support or whatever. You have to crack, like, open a door first to be able to accept anything that comes your way, because otherwise it's all, people can sense it. They know that, oh, she's in her own world. Granted, I was so nervous. I felt like I couldn't even speak to people half the time, but like, people sense that. They're not going to come over and start hyping you up and feel like, it's not going to feel natural if you don't make the first move. And so I wish I had done that differently. I wish that I had, in hindsight, realized that it wasn't the end of the world. We're dancing. Of course it's valuable. Of course there are lives that get changed by it, and art will always be worth it. But I wasn't curing cancer. I was twirling, like it's a pirouette. It's okay if you don't make it. Like, it's not the end of the world. And I think if I had had a little more levity in that way throughout my career, I think I would have enjoyed it a whole lot more. And I think it's absolutely possible. And yeah, and Indiana was the one who, just so everybody knows, Indiana was the one who time and time again kept showing up for me, even though I wasn't always receptive to the love and care and support that was coming my way. I wasn't.
Still, I'll always do it.
You persevered.
I persevered.
Indiana was like, we are going to be friends.
For life.
And I will say it, and you said it yourself, Indy, it's so much more important. It is, because at some point, for me it was early. For some, it's later. But at some point, the curtain comes down and you take those pointe shoes off, and you better have cultivated some sort of self outside of that identity. And you sure as hell better have people in your life that you love through, through the curtain, because there's just, I know it firsthand. There's something that happens when you finally go through that transition where you don't immediately say, I'm a dancer with the New York City Ballet after somebody asks you what you do or who you are. You don't have that immediate answer, and you feel a little lost.
Yeah.
And so anyway, I'm very grateful for you, India. That's all I'm going to say.
Oh, I'm very grateful for you too.
Very grateful.
This episode of the Grace and Vaughan podcast is sponsored by a wonderful donor who wants to shine a light on some of the most impactful dance and art charities in the world. It's a mission that's close to our heart. Indiana herself has performed numerous times at NDI with the incredible Daniel Ulbrich, who has a huge impact on this incredible institute. She's seen firsthand the incredible impact the work has on young dancers and their communities. If you'd like to support the Dream Project, you can donate at nationaldance.org. Every contribution helps keep the joy of dance accessible to every child. It's interesting thinking about the journey to it, going back to the homeschooled little Lauren, the journey to find a place to fit in, and then making such a beautiful name for yourself as an artist, a performer at New York City Ballet, but then taking this risk and deciding to go and become a choreographer. What was that like in terms of finding a new place to make your name? Did it feel like you were going back to the drawing board in terms of finding people accepting you in that way? Did you feel those insecurities again, or had you laid enough foundation for yourself?
Well, I have to be honest. I did not feel that I have to really be honest with this. I did not leave the dance career stepping into a curated or even planned secondary career as a choreographer. I didn't. That's not how it happened. I just knew that I knew that I needed to experience who I was outside of the identity that I previously mentioned. I needed to find a real sense of self outside of just being a ballerina and all that that entailed. That meant, finding other human beings that do other things other than dance. And that meant going to different restaurants that weren't just on my route to the theater. And that meant that I needed to know what it was like to not have my day, all day, planned by someone else the day before. And it meant that I needed to not know what my year would look like all the time, because from my view, I kind of knew it followed a rhythm. It was fall season, Nutcracker, winter season, spring season, Saratoga, maybe Vail, wash, rinse, repeat. And it was so, I don't say that because I was super unhappy with it. I just knew that I wasn't growing. So I actually by that point in my career, at age 29, I had already gotten very comfortable with following fear. So I started it in school, do a scary thing every day. But then it just sort of grew as I grew. And by the time I got to age 29, I really cared more about that than I did about creating a legacy for myself or I don't know, being the greatest fill in the blank there ever was. So for me, I thought that I was stepping away from the ballet career to step into something that didn't have anything to do with dance. And I say that because it was COVID at the time. There weren't a lot of dance jobs going on. I thought that I was going to get just a job at wherever I could find one, a restaurant or a store of some kind. And I thought that would be terrifying because I'd have to learn how to be around people who weren't anything like me as far as their history. So I'd have to relate with people that I didn't know how to relate to. I would have to learn whatever computer systems they would have, how to work a cashier. But I don't even know if they have those anymore now. It's just iPads. But I feel like I would have to learn new skills. And just, when I was balancing the decision, I wasn't thinking about success in the sense that I would be, am I making enough money, or does it have enough prestige in the title? Is it does it have the same clout or influence in the world? Those weren't really part of the decision. The decision was more, would I really be facing a fearful situation? Like, would I really be outside of my comfort zone? Yeah. So I left ballet not knowing that I would continue as a choreographer. It really wasn't in the plans. And then Paul Taylor came knocking on my door, and I felt like that is absolutely terrifying because it's a totally different dance style. I'm not trained in modern at all. And it sounds equally terrifying as it sounds fun. And it was a great learning experience going in, and it's challenged me every day since. It's never felt easy. And I love that.
How was it dealing with a different sort of critique or reviews? Like, you have reviews as a dancer, getting reviews as a choreographer. What's that like? What's that process of switching the script and something that you haven't trained in your entire life? It's a little different.
Oh, reviews are so hard. Luckily, the first ballet I ever put out there got a bad review. So I feel like...
So boom, that happened.
Boom, I was pretty liberated. I've gotten more bad reviews than I've had good reviews. And the talk and chatter, it's so easy to make a judgment about someone that's doing whatever it is when it's different than the mass. But I take it as a compliment every time. You know, if somebody is using energy to consider me at all in the world, whether that be negative or positive, that's still pretty cool. Must be doing something right. Yeah, and it's totally subjective. Totally subjective. The whole space of choreography and art making. And in the end, I mean, you have to make something because you believe in it, number one. And if you enjoyed the process and you enjoyed the people you were working with and you feel like you fostered an atmosphere that hopefully benefited the room and maybe you saw some careers forward, if you, like I knew for me, I would take it as a personal badge of honor if a dancer got promoted after a piece that I made, or if they were recognized in a new way, or the director saw a new side of that dancer. To me, like 10s across the board. I did a great job. So I don't really do it for the reviews.
An inherent part of art, it's like you make something it's not about one person looking at it through their one lens, but yet so often it becomes there's a side area of your brain that looks at this thing as if, is it good or not, and that's just not how art is made or why it's made. But I do think that there must be people, and I remember going through a moment as a younger dancer thinking, wow, I love creating movement, but where do you go as a choreographer? How do you do it? What's the process? Will you talk through the process that you've learned and how you go from being a dancer loving to put steps to music to actually choreographing a ballet, a performance?
It's such a good question, and I feel very fortunate that I've followed. Maybe it's part of the spiritual side of myself. I don't know. But I've always followed the path that's laid out before me. And I say that because there's definitely a call and response, a listening that you have to have, like a tuning in to opportunity around you, because there is always opportunity around you. All of us, somewhere. It could be the person that you're not talking to on the subway that happens to be the principal musician at some orchestra or whatever. You don't know. But there's always opportunity. It's a matter of us tuning in to it and being ready for it when it shows up.
And open.
Absolutely
open to it.
Absolutely open. So that's more of how I've conducted my career. I spend less time imagining myself in spaces that I'm not in yet. Like I do manifest, but I do it in a different sort of a way. I project. I kind of have like a time of the day where I just dream out big things, but I don't attach myself to them. Like I don't attach myself to any outcome. I just think about them and radiate the joy as if it's happened to me. And then I let it go.
I love that.
I don't think about it again. I really don't. I remember I wrote down somewhere, choreograph a ballet for New York City Ballet. I think I did that in school. Why did I say that? I don't even know. I wasn't even all that passionate about choreography at the time, but I said it out loud, thought maybe it could be possible, like felt the joy of it, and then I put it away and I never thought about it again. 6 years later, I made one. So I think I do believe in manifesting, but there's also work that goes into it too. The practical things are there. You can find them. And really, it's just doing it. Like, I know for me, if I wanted to make a dance, then I would find the dancers who are willing to get into the studio with me, like Indiana, and be like, we're going to make a dance now. and you're going to be in sneakers. It's going to be this weird song, but we're going to do it.
I
And
remember that one.
remember that one? That was fun.
That
But
was fun.
you just have to make and care less about the destination or the greatness that might be attached to it. The same way as for a dancer, the best thing you can do is train.
Very
Show
true.
up, go to bar, do your bar, do your class, do the TheraBand, work on your body, get more alive in your body every day, get more skilled, more connected, more flexible, strong. Those are the things you can do today. And for me, choreography is no different. It's what can I do today? Okay, well, maybe it's putting yourself out there for a choreographic residency and just putting your name on the list. That's how it happened with me. You just put your name on the list. You might get picked, you might not. Just put it out there. You have an idea, start making it, even if it's just in your head. I have so many pieces that I'm making, like within this year, maybe the last 2 years that I've made, that started a decade ago or longer as a little seed of an idea. So if the creative life is for you, I think just knowing that your work, your instincts, your impulses don't always have to have a destination for them to be valuable. And when you just gather, put the work in and gather experience, you never know where you're going to find yourself.
You talked about thoughts. I'm interested to know, before we dig into what your days look like today, I'd love to know how, if we were to kind of look inside your brain, which different sections of your life the most amount of thoughts are attributed to these days, whether it's a particular choreographic thing that you're doing, being a mom, like what are the kind of main things, main pillars in your life that, like, when you've got a single second, you busy lady, you're thinking about?
I wish that I had more discipline over my brain. I started meditating again, and that's been beautiful. I think it really helps if you are somebody that has ADHD. It's something that can absolutely help because you get quiet enough to notice your thoughts, and I think half of it is just noticing what's going on between your ears, because there's so much that just isn't accounted for. It's just a zoo up there. But I would say right now I'm absolutely focused on keeping a human being alive. Like, I am a mom right now. And there are these moments that I have, like this podcast is one, but these moments that I have where I get to be in the studio to rehearse an old ballet that I've done before, or I get to have a dinner with a group of a team from a theater that they're paying to have a commission done by me, and we get to talk about that commission and those ideas. Or I get to get into an hour or two Zoom meeting with my Nantucket team and talk about the future of the Nantucket Dance Festival and what it could be. So there's always this feeling of attention and what you put your attention toward. For me, I'm very attentive to the moment that I'm in. So I'm best when I'm present. So for me, because of the way that my schedule is right now, and I'm not turning down all this work, it just happened to be that I wasn't as busy as I normally am in the time that I have my daughter, which is just, I think, the universe looking out for me. But I am very much face forward on whatever is in front of me. So if it's a day where I don't have meetings or carved creative time allotted, then I'm just focused on my house. I'm focused on keeping my space as pristine and beautiful as it can be. It feels ordinary, but I'm like pumping milk for my daughter to live and make muscles and bones. or I'm just,
So important.
reading the book that's in front of me. And sometimes that can be, because I live my life like that, there can be spells of imposter syndrome that can leak in, because if you're not in the doing of something all the time, it's very easy to forget that you do it and that
Totally.
you have the ability to fill in the blank. So for me, it's just keeping myself organized as best I can, and then just really like savoring whatever I'm in. And right now, I'm a mom, and it's amazing. It's super, it's like the most thankless job I've ever had. Like there is no applause happening. But it's also so meaningful.
Yeah, and she's so special.
She's so special.
What was it like going through pregnancy and postpartum in a dancer's body? I know.
It's so hard because we are just, I think sometimes we're very negative about this, and I don't want it to be, because I think it's actually a beautiful thing that as a dancer in literally any dance form, any style, that you treat your body in the most holy way. Like that you are entirely consumed with its care, its health, its line, its senses, how you move through space, and you're a crafter, a carver. I like to think of dance as like we're living sculptures. So you're literally carving your bones and muscles into something beautiful and that has meaning, and there's so much that you can speak through that. I love the art form of dance for this reason. And it's very hard, and it takes so much work, and it's a lifetime of work to get there a lot of the time. And I think it's so stunning. And also, in that carving and a near obsession with fitness and health, and like I can feel when any little thing is off in my body because I'm so alive in my body as a dancer. To go from that to now I'm making a human being, and everything gets out of the way for this thing that takes, it's like an alien hijacks your body and takes over everything and is like, the lungs don't need to breathe, we'll push those up. And like, oh, we'll just push the bladder down, and the abdominals will separate completely to make space for this baby. And like, nothing functions the way that you are so attuned to or so used to. And that's a very frustrating place, not just because visually you don't see the most fit, polished, what's the word I'm looking for? Like curated version of you, made up version. Like you build yourself when you're an artist. Like you put the blood, the sweat, and the tears in to build that body, and then it all just goes for this little baby. And no, it is not easy.
How did you deal with that?
Oh, every day you feel hijacked. You feel like, well, did I consent to this? Like, yes, I did. And you feel the frustration because it's not like, I have to say, I think the same thing happens to us when we get older. So this is not, you have to be pregnant to go through this. This is anyone that's ever been through an injury, anybody who is just aging, which is a gift to age. But there is something in the new body that you wake up in every day, not being what you were used to. That is not an easy process to go through. And I would say it helped so much that I was creating a life. I would think about her little heartbeat. I lived for the ultrasound days because I would get a little picture and I would hold on to that because that or like some hiccups or something, or just a sign that there was something alive inside of me making this happen. Because then it all felt worth it. And it still is. It's not easy. It changes a lot of what you're dealing with your pelvic floor.
Yeah. And your
Pelvic
back
floor.
too.
My back is very different. There's just a lot of everything had to get out of the way to create life. And so I will say what's changed my life right now is carving out space to move again and actually making that a priority. Huge,
Yeah,
game
that's a big
changer.
thing.
I get up at 4 a.m. now. That might sound crazy to some.
No, some
Don't
people do
know.
that. They need to have a little more time in the day.
Yeah, I'm a morning person also,
Yeah.
so it's like not that special.
And
It's
you
not
go
like,
to sleep at 8:30.
and I go to bed at 8:30, exactly. So I go to bed at 8:30 when everybody else is like when you're ready to have a performance. I'm asleep. And I wake up at 4 and I have this time in the morning because I'm mostly home with Liberty. I have 2 hours where I am not a mother and I take a bath, like a real mindful bath where I'm not also bathing a baby at the same time, like a real bath where I can like relax. I pump milk. I found trampoline classes in my coming back into exercise as a mom, and I love it. There's something so liberating about jumping your cares away. Like I feel like I'm 10 years old on this trampoline.
So cute.
It's good for your lymphatic system for sure, and it's absolutely amazing for cardio because you can get to places from a cardiovascular standpoint faster than you can even running. So it's great for that. And I now do affirmations out loud, which makes me feel so foolish. It feels so silly, but I bounce on this trampoline in the morning for 10 minutes and sometimes longer, but at least 10. And I say out loud things that would normally make me bristle back. Like, I'm a good mom and I trust my body. I'm healing. What's another one? I'm consistent. I'm strong. Things that are not always things that I say in my head. I usually say the opposite of it. When you say it out loud, it's weird because you hear yourself say it and there's this loop that happens, and I like started smiling at first because I felt silly, but then also because it felt so good.
Yeah.
And then you start becoming what you're saying. And that's so cool. So I do that, and then I just start naming off things I'm grateful for in the house. I don't care how small it is. It's like, I'm grateful that I have a coffee maker, and I'm grateful that I have curtains that keep the neighbors from peering in at me right now because I'm bouncing on this trampoline and I feel ridiculous. Whatever. I just start naming out things I'm grateful for, and then when I'm done, I feel like the weight of the world and my own perfectionism and whatever is off, and I meditate after that for at least 10 minutes and just get quiet and still and feel my body again, and I do a grace and form.
Yeah.
Which is crazy. I'm not saying this, I have to say, I'm not saying this because you both are my friends. I'm glad that we're doing this podcast and that you are my friends and that you are the ones that started this platform, but it's also an amazing platform for people like me who are just, trying to get back into their body, but they're not ready for a full class. Like, I can't jump really yet. Even center and turning feels wrong because my pelvic floor isn't back, so there are no brakes on the car. But I'm trying to get back into bar and things like that, and it's so easy. The platform is so easy and it's so wonderful, and you have all these great teachers on it.
Oh,
and
yay.
so I set up a little ballet bar in my kitchen, And I'm blessed that I moved into a house out of my apartment in Manhattan, and I moved into a house that has more space, and I'm able to really, like, I moved the table out of the way, and I have a full space to dance with light in the window, and that's how I'm healing right now.
Yeah.
From motherhood, because it's absolutely so much more sacrifice than anybody tells you. Like, it's the greatest thing I ever did, yes, but it's also incredibly hard.
Yeah, I mean, you're keeping a life alive.
Yep.
A little being alive.
There's no control, which is, especially for dancers, that's really hard, because we work so hard to order ourselves, order our bodies, tell it what to do, like double pirouette, you will do it. And when you're a mom, it's not like that. The baby decides. They're like, I'm not doing it today. I'm not going to sleep today. And what do? You have to keep it alive. You can't, there's like this friction that happens where you realize that you have no control anymore over how your day will go if you are the full-time caretaker for your kid.
Mm.
So yeah.
Has that shifted your creativity and ambition?
I'll say that my ideas, I have more trust in the forces that be outside of myself. I have more trust in myself once I do find an idea to see it through. Definitely have more courage and confidence to be myself, because you have to be, it's your stomach after you have a baby is not like beautiful and tight and perfect. It doesn't look like that. It doesn't feel like that. You look in the mirror and you don't like what you see. But that's freeing also. You become more than the outside of you. You feel in a very real way that you have so much more substance, so much more to give. So I think there's a confidence that you get in that, and it is so hard that if you can do that, if you can get through even the first couple of months of being a mom and breastfeeding, if that's what you choose. Any kind of feeding is hard. I don't care what it is. The sleepless nights, all of those things. If you can do that, you sure as hell can step into a room with people that intimidate you and talk about your ideas. No problem.
Totally.
So I think it's given me confidence in a lot of ways. And creatively, things come how they come. Like my next piece that I'm making here for Paul Taylor Company happened because our Spotify playlist played a random song and it reminded me of a record that I wanted to use years ago that's like all
incredible,
connected. So you never really know.
Yeah. And speaking of some of those dreams, that are happening now, are there any other dreams that you have in your life, in your future, choreographically, personally? And it's a huge question, I know.
I have so many, but I am a dreamer. I'm a dreamer, and I know that that's my skill set. So my skill, my gift in this world is that I can not see the future. It's not like I can predict what will happen, but I have the rosiest glasses.
You do.
Anybody I know.
You do, and it's so inspiring.
I just love shooting your shot, like going for the craziest possible idea. And I really believe that they can happen. That can be my downfall also, because I realize that I need so much more help to actually make them happen, so much more organization and help than I like to think. But I surround myself with people that are different than me, that have different skill sets. I surround myself with doers because I am such a dreamer. I think dreamers need to be side by side with doers. And optimists need to speak to realists and be in that uncomfortable space, because it is uncomfortable when you're like, we can do the greatest thing ever. And then the person beside you goes, actually, there's 100 reasons why that's not going to work right now. And they're right. So I think that that's a really beautiful thing. I love who I get to work with. And if I had more money, like if I won the lottery tomorrow, and trust me, I've thought about it, but if I did, like the amount of people that I would bring into the dreams that I see for the dance world at large, but also just personally, different projects I'd love to see through. It'd be amazing. I have so many ideas from, well, I can't really speak them out loud yet, so I won't.
Not yet. That's okay.
Not yet.
That's
but
okay.
I feel in general like we get a little bit pessimistic about the dance world sometimes. We enter it with a scarcity mindset about how like little resources there are and all of the problems. And it's not that those problems don't exist. They do. They're real. But there's also so much good happening in dance right now too. And you're only one conversation away from someone who can fund your wildest dreams.
It's
so
true.
We live in that kind of world.
Yeah.
There's opportunity like that. So I live in that space. I love to problem solve. So directing Nantucket Dance Festival has been so much fun. I very much enjoyed that. We're going on our 4th year.
Congrats. That's
Thank
huge.
you. I'm working alongside Lauren King, who we worked side by side in New York City Ballet together for years, but we love her. We were never close. I don't think we didn't share more than, I don't know,
Hi, how are you?
10 conversations with each other in the whole time that we danced. Yeah, hi, how are you? Very light.
Yeah.
And now she's one of my closest friends and somebody I absolutely just love to work with because of her realism, because she's so organized and her heart is just always in the right place. I have never seen her come at anything from a place of ego or
She's so special.
pride. She's
a gem.
She's a gem. She's a
The
grounding
Lauren
wire.
squareds are amazing. I love the Lauren and the Lauren. You guys are so incredible and generous and optimistic and realistic and dreamers. Such a beautiful marriage. And
It is. It's our work marriage.
It's your work marriage. It is. I wanted to ask you, talking about, dreams and everything, I feel like we have to go back to how you felt also as a student and as a kid and as an adult growing up and all these things. And I wanted to just ask you 2 things, a 2-part question. What would you tell someone who wants to be a choreographer and may not know where to start? Number 1, just so you can think about it. And then number 2, I always love asking this because I think it's very important to pass it on. What is some advice that you would give to, it could be your younger self? I know you gave us a little bit of advice as your, professional self, but what would be something that you wish to pass on to the younger generations? And then to reiterate, if anybody wants to be a choreographer but may not know where to start.
Yeah. I guess I'll start with what I wish I had knew younger. And it would really be that people aren't thinking about me that much. They're not. I was so, I felt like, for better or worse, I could really impact the environment around me. So I was hyper aware of how I looked and sounded and, the excellence of whatever I was doing. It had to be great. And like Saskia was saying, like, I had to be cool and alike to the people around me, and I needed to fit in, and I needed to I don't know, to conform, I guess. And I think what I wish I had known sooner is that all of my homeschool weird is great. It doesn't,
Absolutely.
it's great. It
It's
doesn't
great.
matter that I would spend so much time playing Age of Empires 2 Definitive Edition on my computer. Like that was how I wanted to spend my time, that I loved roller hockey with my neighborhood friends. Like we would play that like it was our job. That was just more of what I was interested in, and that I didn't know what Gucci was or what like designer brands were. I did not know. I did not know how to pronounce them. I think I just had so much insecurity that I wish I could like come up alongside that younger self and be like, it's totally fine. There's only one of you. It's okay.
Totally.
It's all good. And it doesn't mean that. I think nowadays we actually have, what I see in younger generation is that it is cool to be different. So there's this feeling that you need to be extra different. And it's like, no, just don't think about
That's not the point.
No, just don't think about yourself as much. Just live, show up and get concerned about the people around you. Ask them what they want or need, or consider their feelings. And they might be just as scared as you are, but putting on a poker face and stretching their leg behind their ears so it looks like they've got it all figured out, but they might be just as scared,
Yeah,
and
being honest with that is really like such a special thing, to connect with another person. Just say, I'm scared. How do you feel?
yeah, and it's, I think, just like falling down and it being okay, messing up the words and it being okay, doing something embarrassing like dropping your food all over the cafeteria floor with glassware. The first day of, not the summer program, but the winter term. So you're around those people for a lot longer. Or just like, I don't know, like I've always been a morning person. I would get up early with the kids that were going to school because I wanted to be cool like them and sit at the breakfast table with all the kids that were going to school. And I would say weird stuff. And I had way too much energy for the morning, and most people are not morning people.
Except
And
for
that
me
was
and Sassy.
a little bit uncomfortable because obviously people don't want that energy at their table when they're tired. Whatever, just like letting it be okay. And
Just be you.
yeah, and not grieving about it so much, because there's all this feeling like we just want to be accepted so bad.
Totally.
But really it's all about accepting yourself. And yeah, saying I'm sorry immediately is liberating. It's like how you liberate yourself. You're free if you can learn how to do that. And yeah, so that's what I would tell my younger self. That was a lot of things, sorry.
No, no
I could
sorry.
keep going for a very long time, but I'm going to leave it at that.
No, it's so important to hear all these things, and it's very important to say them out loud too, I think.
Yeah. And for the choreography, not knowing where to start, I think it really is, there's different opportunity no matter where you are, so it's kind of hard to say. I mean, for me, I was very fortunate that they had a choreographic program in school. Not every dance studio has that. If they don't and you are interested in it, I would say I don't know a single orchestrator of dance, organizer of dance, dance studio owner, company owner, anything. I don't know anyone that's in a place of power in the dance world that doesn't love to hear a dancer come to them and say, I'm really scared, but I'd love to explore something new. I want to grow. I want to challenge. I want to put myself out there more. I want to get brave. If you come at it from that angle, I don't know a single person, and I know a lot of them now, that would ever shut that down.
That's so nice to hear. from the
Yeah.
other side. You
So
know,
nice to hear.
don't forget everyone. You can talk to those people too, even though it is really scary. And leading with, I'm really scared to speak with you. I feel like it's such a important thing to just, once you're honest with yourself and the other person, like you said before, kind of the walls melt away. And so you're able to actually express, even if it freaks you out. You know, you can say like, I'm so freaked out right now, but I also want to like throw myself at this and I don't know how to say it, but here I am. I'm showing up and I'm just going to do that and tell you exactly how I'm feeling.
Yeah.
Just being vulnerable with yourself and another person, I feel like is such a valuable thing that, you know, your story and everything is showing us. And I definitely feel that too in my journey.
Yeah. It's true.
Our journeys.
But it's true. And I feel it can be a challenge. You aren't always going to get the response that you want. In fact, most of the time, you're not. But that's because it takes leaders also a second to process and understand and know that that's what you're after and all of that. To align, to see how you fit in, to see where the opportunities are. That's just one path. It's just one. I would always start there because whoever has the keys to the door you want to open, go there first. And then if it gets shut down or it's, you know, after you've said your piece with that, if it's not being granted, you can always get creative. If you're creative, there's a way to get creative. There is something that I feel is missing a little bit in dance that I used to really want to just do it myself. And now I feel like if anyone were to do this, I would just be happy that they did it and I would back them. But there are a lot of stepping stones missing in the choreographic career. Because I know from experience, it's a lot to have to make a whole dance out the gate. Like, that's just a lot to commit to. I tried to back out of it myself.
It's a lot.
It's scary, and it's not that it isn't good to do and like go for it, jump off the cliff, go. But I think there are many dancers out there that go, I don't know if I'm interested in choreography. I don't know if I have skill. Maybe, but I've never tried. I don't want to knock on my director's door or ask my teacher for this big opportunity when I don't even know if I can do it.
Yeah.
And there is a class missing in most ballet schools that exists more in the contemporary world with improvisation and things like this. And pretty much every other dance style, there's more focus on improv than there is in ballet, and that's like the most terrifying word in the ballet studio. Improv or improvisation for
It
however
totally
long.
is. I mean, and then you can't even figure out
Terrifying.
your voice. Like, you know, when you're saying this, I've always thought maybe, but I'm like way too scared to even tap into anything because I'm like, I don't know I could try, but how do I try?
Yep.
How, you know?
And the stakes go up, actually, the more success you've seen as a dancer. If you haven't tried choreography, like the more you gain recognition for one thing in your career, the stakes are higher than if you try to pivot or change gears into something else, because it's really going to be harshly criticized, more so than maybe someone that they've never heard of you before. That being said, I think a class should exist for this. I've actually started like a makeshift curriculum of what it could look like, and some schools are doing some classes for dancers who might be interested in school, like through high school. But it should exist for anyone of any age, and I really feel like a class that incorporates both the left and right side of the brain. So like we mentioned at the beginning of the podcast, not just those of us who are more colorfully minded that really respond to a squiggly line when it comes to creating, but there's also a lot of dancers out there that are wildly creative that come at it from a more analytical approach and also make stunning work. And it's not either or, and it is possible to create with lots of different personalities in the room. So I believe that there's a class that should be a standard at every school, really, for so many reasons. One of the reasons being that it would really nourish the environment of the school, in the sense that you're teaching dancers how to collaborate with one another, how to be vulnerable and speak up when it's not appropriate to do that in the ballet class all the time with the teacher. But in choreography, it's different. So you actually learn how to use your voice. You exercise those muscles. I think it's incredibly important because of how it balances a room when it comes to ego. So there's this hierarchy of like a tiered system in ballet. Just it naturally happens. It's like if you are physically talented and musically talented and you have a certain personality, you just rise a lot faster to the top of the class. You get more attention, you get more corrections, you get pushed up. And then there are dancers in the room that find themselves more in the middle, or find themselves even at the bottom of that system, and they can feel like, I guess this is just where I land in the world.
Yeah,
but
this class could help.
What's so cool about the class is it's like the person that might be at the top of the cake in the ballet variations class or whatever might be so scared to actually choreograph a phrase on another dancer out loud using their voice or whatever. And with the different exercises with the right brain and left brain, I feel like there's no student that can really get through the class without being challenged in one way or another.
I mean, it'd be so special to have something like that, and like to have, anybody who's listening that has any ideas on this too, we'd love to hear them, obviously, on this podcast. And I'm just so grateful. I know, unfortunately, we have to finish so we don't take up all of your time too, because you have to go to meetings.
I do. I gotta go.
But we're just so grateful that you could share all your insightful, journey and your everything you've learned, and you're just beautiful inside and out. And I'm so grateful that you're one of my besties, and that you're also friends with Sass too. And we're just really grateful that you were able to come on this podcast and make time for us.
Thank you for listening to the Grace and Form podcast. This episode was produced by Indiana Woodward, Megan Elsie McNally, and me, Saskia Gregson-Williams. If you're really loving the show, it would be wonderful if you take a moment to rate and review us. It helps other ballet lovers find our pod and lets us bring you even more episodes. And of course, don't forget to subscribe.
Have thoughts, questions, or topics you'd like us to explore? You can find us on all social media platforms as Grace and Form Studio. Drop us a message. If this episode has got you itching to move, oh, do we have the app for you. Download the Grace and Form app today and start your 7-day free trial. Whether you're a seasoned dancer or just starting out, there are ballet classes and dance-inspired workouts for everyone, no matter the level. Come join our community of dance lovers and experience the joy of movement for yourself. Again, thank you so much for listening, and until next time, take a deep breath in, be gentle with yourself, and always keep moving forward.